It was right about here that I realized I'd ruined our trip to Death Valley. But let me back up. If you watched my last video, you'll recall that we had a great adventure in Red Rock Canyon State Park. Our next stop was Death Valley. After breakfast in Rodrigo Campground, we packed up and headed north. We had 150 miles of driving ahead of us to get to the center of Death Valley. Here's the wrinkle. I'd planned to camp in Echo Canyon, a sheltered valley where dispersed camping is allowed, and I thought I'd gotten a permit online for the canyon. But while we were on the road, I got an email that permits were only available in person. We didn't know it yet, but this would turn out to be a big problem. We ate lunch in the town of Panamint Springs, then headed over the pass through the Panamint Mountains into Death Valley. As we came over the mountains and dropped into Death Valley, the views were epic, but I was getting a little nervous. It was late afternoon and we didn't know where we'd set up camp that night. When we stopped at the National Park Service station in Stovepipe Wells, a ranger told us that all the backcountry permits were issued that morning. All the campgrounds were also booked up. She recommended a backcountry spot south of Furnace Creek that didn't require a permit. What she didn't mention was how exposed it was, or that the weather report was calling for strong winds. We found both of these things out soon enough. You want to touch it? It's like a river of salt. Yeah. It's like real deep.
That's salt. That's salt.
Oh yeah, it's like hard. That's weird. We tried setting up camp, but the wind was just too ferocious. The tent probably could have handled it, but it would have been a rough night of sleep. As much as I hated to, we decided to throw in the towel. We contemplated camping in one of Death Valley's overflow lots, but there was no guarantee they would provide more shelter. And camping in a parking lot full of RVs wasn't appealing. Instead, we decided to head south and try to find lodging in the town of Shoshone, outside the park's boundaries. It took about an hour to get to Shoshone, where we got lucky and found a spot in a private campground in town, and more shelter from the wind. Do we see? Oh, there's that same one right there. Look. There's that pupfish. There he is. The next morning, the weather report was calling for rain, and we decided to head for home. We explored the quirky town a bit and learned of a nearby farm that sounded interesting. We are at a place called China Ranch, which is a big date farm that's kind of in the middle of nowhere out here. So we're going to check it out. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do that's outside. It's a really cool landscape, though. You can see those hills over there.
There you go. Ooh, that's pretty.
There's all the dates. China Ranch dates. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. He's wet.
You trying to stay dry under the awning?
Yeah.
A long walk back.
Did you guys hike in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you have a good walk, yeah. Oh, was it? Oh, neat. With the rain picking up, we settled for a visit to the gift shop and shared one of the farm's famous date shakes. Hold that. I was still disappointed that our Death Valley camping trip was a bust, but the date farm was a nice consolation prize. Later that day, we stumbled upon an abandoned mining town, which was another fun surprise. But that's a story for another video.
Like this is a slot canyon, basically.
Yeah.